The impact of colonialism on Africa, a historical reckoning. Colonialism in Africa was not merely a historical event, it was a seismic transformation that reshaped the continent's political, economic, social, and cultural landscapes. From the late 19th century through the mid-20th century, European powers carved up Africa in a scramble for territory, resources, and influence. The legacy of this period continues to reverberate across the continent today. The scramble for Africa, the Berlin Conference of 1884–85, marked the formal beginning of the partitioning of Africa. European powers, Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Portugal, and others, divided the continent with little regard for existing ethnic, cultural, or political boundaries. This arbitrary division laid the groundwork for many of the conflicts and challenges that Africa faces today. Political disruption and artificial borders. Colonial rule dismantled traditional governance systems. Indigenous leaders were often replaced or subordinated to colonial administrators. The new borders grouped together diverse ethnic groups or split them apart, leading to tensions that persist in modern nation-states. For example, Nigeria, home to over 250 ethnic groups, was unified under British rule, sowing seeds of future conflict. Economic exploitation. Colonial economies were designed to extract resources for the benefit of European powers. Africa's rich natural wealth, gold, diamonds, rubber, cocoa, and more, was exported with little reinvestment in local development. Infrastructure like railways and ports were built, but primarily to serve colonial interests. Cash crop economies replaced subsistence farming, making local populations vulnerable to global market fluctuations. Cultural and educational impact. Colonialism imposed European languages, religions, and educational systems. While some Africans gained access to Western education, it often came at the cost of indigenous knowledge systems and languages. Christianity spread widely, often replacing or marginalizing traditional beliefs. European languages became official languages, sidelining local tongues. When the missionaries came to Africa, they had the Bible, and we had the land. They said, "Let us pray." We closed our eyes. When we opened them, we had the Bible, and they had the land. Jomo Kenyatta, resistance and nationalism. Colonialism was met with resistance from the beginning. From the Zulu kingdom's defiance to the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya, Africans fought to reclaim their autonomy. These struggles laid the foundation for the rise of nationalist movements in the 20th century. Leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, and Julius Nyerere emerged as symbols of African liberation. Post-colonial challenges. Independence did not erase the colonial legacy. Many African nations inherited weak institutions, divided societies, and economies dependent on former colonial powers. Civil wars, coups, and authoritarian regimes plagued the post-independence era. Structural adjustment programs in the 1980s further strained economies. Yet, despite these challenges, Africa has shown remarkable resilience and growth in many areas: education, technology, arts, and governance. The legacy today. Colonialism's impact is still visible in borders that fuel ethnic tensions, languages that dominate education and governance, economic structures reliant on raw material exports, cultural identity struggles between tradition and modernity. However, a new generation of Africans are reclaiming their history, redefining their identity, and reshaping their future. Colonialism was a defining chapter in Africa's history, but not its whole story. The continent's past is rich with civilizations, innovations, and resilience. Understanding the impact of colonialism is essential not to dwell on the past, but to build a more just and equitable future.